Clemson's awful. I mean, Clemson benched their starting quarterback. All shucks, all shucks, all shucks
Oh,
is all stinking up the joints
yes,
right
he is.
now. So,
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis discuss Week 8 of the college football season, as well as providing predictions for Week 9. Welcome to today's show. Dr. Keith Adams is the president of the CKA Save Project, a nonprofit organization designed to assist student athletes and the people who work with them through educational and professional development. He is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college levels. He has won numerous championships and epitomizes professionalism. Coach Mike Franchise Francis is one of the most successful football and basketball coaches in the state of Maryland. He too is a career academic and athletic leader with close to 30 years of experience on the high school and college level and is self-admittedly a little rough around the edges. Both men have mentored countless student athletes, teachers, and coaches using their unique methods and approaches to leadership. Both men also share a unique and special friendship that was cultivated often through their unique perspective of life and leadership. Dr. Adams through his extensive educational background and Coach Francis through his life experiences. Can these two men share a podcast without driving each other crazy? Welcome to the Odd Coaches podcast.
greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Ron Garvin to my Magnum TA in the 1986 Crockett Cup Tournament, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, man, it is good to see you. I hope you're well, my friend.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. How you doing?
Man, life is grand and gold. And by the time this comes out, we'll be in full Halloween preparations. So let's get going, man.
Yes, sir.
So on this Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches podcast, we're going to wrap up Week 8, and then we're going to preview Week 9 and another great strictly for entertainment purposes week for me with the money line pick. Makes it a little easier, but whatever. So what's on your mind, Coach?
Where do I start? Miami and NC State?
You can start there if you want to.
No, my thing, notables for the week. Oregon squeaks by. Pittsburgh over Clemson. Wake Forest won, but still gave up 56 points. Those are the three things that caught my eye this week for the first story.
Well, I'm going to tell you, and again, great segue. You had me watching Wake Forest. And I'm watching them play Army, not Alabama, Army. And Army is putting up video game numbers. And I'm like, why does Mike have me wasting my afternoon? So then the second thing you had me doing is watching NC State. Got to keep an eye on NC State. And I purposely had an ACC ban for several weeks. And now I'm actually watching ACC football. And these guys lose to Miami when this guy is close to losing his job. And then finally, I will give credit where credit is due. Pittsburgh actually is halfway decent. Mm-hmm. And notice I said halfway decent because Clemson's awful. I mean, Clemson benched their starting quarterback. All shucks, all stinking up the joints.
Yes,
right
he is.
now. So, man, why you got me talking about ACC football? Please respond to that before I go on my second rant based on you and changing my viewing habits.
I think that the ACC, I mean, there's a couple teams in there that's pretty good. I mean, I thought Clemson, I thought Clemson would run the table, but, you know, when we talked earlier, we talked about Pittsburgh possibly climbing up a little bit and making steps. So that was good.
Well, go Pittsburgh. I've got no problem, keeping Pittsburgh in our conversations. But after Wake Forest, let Army run it up on them. I'm done with them.
416 yards rushing.
It's Army, man.
400 Army's, but 400 yards in one game.
Yeah.
400,
which takes us I actually rooted for Chip Kelly yesterday, and see what it got me.
That's pain.
UCLA was favored against Oregon, which tells you a little bit about Oregon. That UCLA was favored. Two, they go up 14-0, and right before I'm about to text you, I said, "Man, something don't look right." So I'm going to hold that text until later, and then sure enough, chipped them and did traditional Chip Kelly things, and they ended up losing. So now I've got to continue to talk about Oregon when I know they're a fraud, and you know they're a fraud, and everybody knows they're a fraud, which takes me to my last thing. I am so not impressed with Penn State and Oklahoma. Penn State lost to Illinois, and Oklahoma was losing to Kansas, possibly the worst Power 5 team, because they lost to Coastal, and Coastal's done because they lost to App State. Yes. So that's not going to set well for Oklahoma moving forward to the rest of the season. Your thoughts, my friend?
You go back, I've never felt comfortable with Oklahoma in there. We had that discussion a couple times, and you'll see at the end of when we go to our top fives, you'll see what.
Yeah. And on that note, as we kick off, the Dr. Adams is irritated with college football because of Coach Francis segment. We'll be right back after this short break.
Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project's book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success, is being released on November 15, 2021. The book serves as both a memoir of Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes numerous personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues, including former George Mason standout, Fowler and Campbell. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast Thursday, Throwdown Thursday edition. And second segment, we will talk about our second tier stories. And Coach, tagging you in, sir. What else is on your mind?
It was a lot of upsets this week, to come to think of it. Iowa State played okay.
I was holding that one, but it's okay to talk about it. Let's go, as Shaq would say. Let's go.
Penn State lost to Illinois in 9 overtimes with their quarterback. I don't know if he was healthy or what, but
I want to pause you on that. Tell me your thoughts on the 9 overtimes. So fans know, if you don't pay attention, because I didn't pay attention till they put it on the screen. College football goes like 2 halfway legitimate overtimes, and then they moved to 2-point conversions. And I really didn't know that they switched the rule up. Coach, can you give me some insight on that? Because the commentators are like, this is the wrong way of settling a football game. So talk to me, sir.
It was definitely the wrong way to settle a football game. I'd much rather see it. Let's just go time. Let's do 10 minutes. If they do 10 minutes, whoever scores, the first team score a touchdown win. That's the way I look at it. So, I mean, you got the coin toss, but if you play defense, then you got to stop. You got a chance to win, in my opinion. Every game comes down to one possession, defensively or offensively. When you do this overtime format, it's like, who can't – you just play 60 minutes and you're going to let it come down to this? After 60 minutes of doing everything you did, you're going to let it come down to this? I just don't like the format. So you play, and if you score – go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Well, Coach, they said they changed this format so people wouldn't still be out playing. It's a safety and security thing or whatever with the players. And Illinois' quarterback breaks his arm, and Penn State's quarterback limped off the field. So that's why I just wanted to, ask you, because that actually was a point of contention.
Safety. Anytime you want to do something and you can't really explain it, you say safety. Safety is the code word. That's what it is. It's always the code word because you can't question it. You go, oh, well, it's safety. And you leave it alone. That's what it is. But yeah, this didn't make sense at all. I don't like the new rule. They need to change it back.
All right, carry on with your second tier thoughts. And again, thank you for schooling not only myself, but our audience on this overtime foolishness.
It's crazy. How about Wisconsin and Purdue?
Did Purdue lose?
Yes, Wisconsin
Okay.
beat them 30-13.
You see, you have to have a certain record in the Big Ten for me to look at your games strictly for entertainment purposes only. And Purdue didn't reach that threshold. So, okay, Purdue is upset.
Purdue last week, they pulled it off, and then they come out, last week they pulled it off, and then they came out and like dropped an egg this week. It was very
Yes, indeed.
disappointing to see.
So I'm sorry,
second.
I didn't look at that one.
Yeah, man, that was a bad story for me. That was bad. The other two things, Cincy escaped. Let's be honest, and so did Oregon.
Yeah. Cincy did not look good. Again, those military academies with that darn discipline. Cincy did not look good, and that will be reflected in segment 3. And I'm not a fan of Oregon anyway. I'm a fan of that lineman. He's pretty good. But yeah, I was done with that. In terms of me this week, Coach, there was just a lot of little sidebar stories, and I actually sent them to you so you kind of know which direction I was going.
Yes, sir.
So, former Washington State coach, and the fact that I said former means he lost his job. He will be suing the university for illegal termination in part because of the discriminatory and vindictive behavior of the athletic director. If I'm not mistaken, the governor of Washington State said if you're a state employee, it is mandated for you to become vaccinated or you are in danger of losing your job. And it's actually called Washington State University. And if I'm not mistaken, the coach at the time, Nick Rolovich, was the highest paid state employee. So I wish him well, but using my small historical background, I don't think he's going to be able to win that case. Any thoughts on Washington State's coach, sir?
Yeah, 3 words. Get the shot.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't let me leave $3.5 million on the table, especially living in Washington State, because that $3.5 million is probably $4.5 million with the cost of living.
Easy.
All right. So 2, LSU coach Ed Orgeron, and we actually hinted to this. We didn't know it was going to be that fast, but literally the next day after taping, he agreed with the university to part ways with the football program after this season and wants to finish out the season, including any potential bowl games. And to my knowledge, he's still getting his bag. Any thoughts on Coach O, my friend?
He's earned this. He's earned the right to finish out the season. It's good to the university allowed that to happen because you make for a smoother transition to me. The kids have built a relationship with him, and nobody knows why. I mean, yeah, people lose, but nobody really knows why exactly this happened. It could be just the AD or the president, or it could be anybody else. So you don't want to put, more than necessary there for the kids, in my opinion. You do the right thing for the kids. And him, maybe he's not recruiting as well as he used to. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
He's doing some recruiting, Coach, I heard, but I don't think it's the type of players he needs.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
All right. And while we're on LSU, rumor has it that LSU may be calling Happy Valley to gauge the interest of a former SEC coach to see if he wants to come down. Any thoughts on the rumors that Coach Franklin may get a call from Baton Rouge?
Where isn't Franklin going? First it was USC. I mean, then I heard Mike Tomlin's supposed to lead the Steelers.
That didn't cross my desk.
Yes, Tomlin's supposed to lead the Steelers to go to USC, and then Franklin's supposed to replace him with the Steelers.
That did not cross my desk. You're gonna have me doing some research.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't know. I know he was in the SEC. He knows how to recruit the SEC. Um, who knows if he'll move? I know his family's entrenched in Pennsylvania, but hey, when the bag right, you can move.
Yeah, we could. I'm sure there's a Wegmans
Yes, sir.
or an
Yes, sir.
Acme grocery store somewhere.
Sure
All
is.
right. The American Athletic Conference has received applications from 6 schools
Mm.
to join the conference, and each of them are expected to join if they haven't already joined by now. And I just wanted to run you this list of powerhouse programs as
Powers.
the AAC is looking to expand. Florida Atlantic,
Mhm.
Charlotte, North Texas, University of Texas at San Antonio, Rice, and UAB, which didn't even have a program a few years ago. They have each officially requested to join, and that means Conference USA may be bye bye because Southern Miss is set to join
They
the
jumped.
Sun Belt
Yes.
Conference.
Yes, they are.
So Conference USA this week will be losing UAB, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, North Texas, Rice, University of Texas at San Antonio to the American, and Southern Miss to the Sun Belt. In addition, Marshall, ODU, and James Madison, which is one of the best
Mhm.
FCS programs,
There it is.
they may be going to the Sun Belt as well. So the dominoes are starting to fall, coach. And I just wanted to share that with you and get your thoughts.
It's all about education. It's not about the money. Remember that, okay? It's for these kids to get an education. Nah, man. Everybody's running to make, what's best for them financially. That would be a good conference. I don't know if you've seen Jareem Dallin's uh, Instagram story. He's an assistant basketball coach at North Texas.
Uh-huh.
He did the Instagram story of the dude in the mink coat stepping into the car, and he was like, "Me waking up realizing we're changing conferences," and he stepped in the car like this.
Oh man.
So yeah, I think it's good for these schools. North Texas, Florida Atlantic, UAB, the Rattlers. I didn't, didn't even think about that for as them changing, but I could see UTSA, North Texas, and Florida Atlantic making that jump. It'd be good for them. Old Dominion, maybe they can hold out. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna get a better shot, but
Well, the school out of all of them that I'm looking at is Charlotte
mm,
because I've had the chance to spend some time down there. And when I say that's an underrepresented market, you can really do some stuff in Charlotte. I mean, you're close enough yet far enough, so that should be interesting.
but
And
you're surrounded in Charlotte, though, dog. You got,
yeah,
I mean, Charlotte. You got all the other schools down there. That's tough. To me, it's just tough if you because Carolinas, Duke, like you have all those schools within that state. NC State now, Wake Forest, like it's tough.
interesting.
Yes,
So I think they're trying to expand their footprint and be a mini version of some of these conferences, but yeah, it should be interesting.
yes, sir.
And on that note, we'll take a quick break and be back with some strictly for entertainment purposes of only items on
Yes,
the
sir.
iCoaches podcast.
The vision of the CKA SAVE project is to use the combination of academics and athletics as a catalyst to lifelong success. Thus, the CKA SAVE project works to improve student-athlete academic and athletic performance by assisting student-athletes with transitional and transferable skills such as time management and organizational skills, along with the ability to self-advocate to help improve performance. However, we cannot do our work without the help of supporters like you. Consider donating to the CKA SAVE project. We accept tax-deductible contributions in a number of ways, including Venmo and Cash App at CKA SAVE project, or directly at the main page of our website, www.ckasaveproject.org. Simply click the donate button. We thank you in advance for your continued support.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast as we do a final recap of week 8 and preview week 9. We're going to start off with the Odd Coaches podcast top 5. And yeah, we had to make some adjustments. Sorry about that to some of them. And I got one in just because I don't think they're going to last very long. So at least they get a little bit of love. So number 1 is Georgia. Georgia's number one, and there is no second with that. That defense is grown men. Two, two, and this may be short lived. Michigan is number two as they head into the undefeated game against undefeated Michigan State. So let's put them as high as possible, and then let's see what happens. Three, although I was extremely disappointed with their performance against Kansas, I'm thinking about how the committee is looking at Oklahoma, and I'm thinking about all the ways the committee is going to screw Cincinnati like Vince screwed Brett. So I've got Oklahoma at three. I got Alabama at four, and I have Cincinnati at five. On the outside looking in, and again, I'm trying to think like the committee. Ohio State is right there, ready to go, and they're going to bump Cincinnati. Michigan State's ready to replace Michigan. Oregon keeps hanging around, and man, Ole Miss is just kind of sitting there. So that's the OCP top five. Merchandise coming soon. Talk to me about the franchise five, sir.
Well, first of all, if you're thinking like the committee, you got to put Ohio State and Oregon in there because you know they're going to jump on them like crazy. So, I mean, just my opinion, if that's the committee's thought, because they can't live without Ohio State or Michigan being mentioned when it comes to college football for some reason. But my top five is Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, I, Michigan, Cincy, Ole Miss. Top five. Alabama.
Ole Miss snuck
Yes,
into
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
franchise five.
Yes, sir. Ole Miss
Anybody on
is
the
my top
outside
five.
looking in?
Ohio State and Oregon.
All right. Well, games of the week. Again, because of when we tape, can't get involved with the stat lines and the spreads and the overs and the unders. So it's always money line picks. I had Michigan over Northwestern. Michigan won. I had Ole Miss over LSU. Ole Miss won. I actually had Clemson over Pittsburgh because, hey, man, it's Pittsburgh. I actually watched them play. That kid's not bad. So they lost. And I did call Iowa State over Oklahoma
Yes,
State.
you
So
did.
now I do not have to talk about Mike Gundy anymore. So I was 3-1 last week. My season record is 21-11, which is 65%, which is over my goal of 53%. Games of the week this week. Michigan versus Michigan State. I am so looking forward to the. Can you believe Michigan and Michigan State are still undefeated? That game actually means something.
Wow.
That's something.
When's the
So,
last time that happened?
despite my good friend Jesse, I'm going to go with Michigan because my boy Jesse's a big Michigan State fan. So I'm going to go with Michigan. Ole Miss versus Auburn. You got me watching Auburn football. You got me watching Ole Miss. And this is usually when Lane Kiffin starts to choke. But I'm actually going to stay with Mississippi and say, come on, Lane, let's get in the top 10 and let's work our way and stay on the fringes.
Hmm.
Um, Begrudgingly, I'm going to watch an ACC football game next week. We're going to watch Louisville and North Carolina State. And we're hoping that Louisville finally puts the nail in the North Carolina State coffin, even though I think the nail's already in there.
Ooh.
And then finally, we got Georgia against Florida. And is this the cocktail party game? Is that what
Yes,
they call it?
world's largest cocktail party.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm going to pick Georgia to roll through and enjoy several top shelf beverages. Shout out to our Tuesday show. And I've got Georgia beating Florida. Any game of the week you're interested in before we transition to our newly minted OCP Heisman Watch?
Oh, yes, sir. I think that Georgia Florida game, I just because it's a bucket list game for me. Like I at one point want to definitely go and see that game. So I definitely gonna watch it. Um, I have to admit, the Michigan State undefeated game. I think it might get a little airtime for me this week. It would. The Reds and the Blues. So
Well,
those are
when
two big
when
things.
when Paul Feinbaum is giving praise to Harbaugh, you know he must have done something right. Right.
I didn't
But
see that.
Coach Francis brought up last week Bo Nix for the Heisman, and he actually tagged me on that in social media. Again, follow us on at Coach's Odd on Twitter, and you'll hear the rest of them and our closing tagline. But according to the Caesar Sportsbook, so that's where the data's from because I'm not watching all of this stuff. Bryce Young is in the lead from Alabama, quarterback from Alabama. Matt Corral, quarterback from Ole Miss, is second right now. Quarterback C.J. Stroud from Ohio State is third. Quarterback Caleb Williams from Oklahoma is fourth. And running back Kenneth Walker from Michigan State is fifth right now. And other candidates are quarterback Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. Nobody mentioned Bo Nix. Coach, anybody you want to put on this Heisman watch that we're going to start now?
I guess nobody ever really thought about Bo Nix being there. The only other person I really saw that I would do would be Matt Corral at Ole Miss. I did get a chance to see, to look at his stats last week after our episode. I went back and checked to make sure it was like anybody else in this, and then so I would say between those two, even though they didn't put him in there, but I think Matt Corral, to me, in my opinion, he's definitely ahead of the rest of those guys as far as the Heisman is concerned right now.
All right. For those fans who care, Bryce Young is plus 175 and Matt Corral is plus 200 in case you're into that thing, strictly for entertainment purposes only. So with that, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying so long for the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. You can follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.